Hello everyone, and welcome back to another badass YouTube video. As bow hunting starts to heat up, people are spending more and more time in their stands and in their saddles. So with that, today I'm going to be talking about my top 5 tips for saddle hunting comfort. And with that, let's get after it. Alright guys, so for those of you who don't know, this is your tether, this is your bridge, and this is your actual saddle. For those of you that are new to saddle hunting, that's going to be important throughout the video. And tip number 1 is going to be all about tether height. So there's basically 2 ways that I found that are pretty comfortable. The first is to keep it up in between your face level, somewhere between your forehead and your chin. That's how I like to do it, and the reason for this is it allows a lot of comfort when you're standing, but also what they call seated position, which is where you swing into the tree and put your knees up against the tree. And it's also very comfortable for this. You can still sit here, not have a lot of pressure on any part of you, and so it's good for both those things. The other way that is also comfortable is moving your tether down. So if I go ahead and pull this down the tree, lock it in right here, and shorten the bridge length, as you can see, I can lean back and still be comfortable. This one does not work so well for the seated position, so if you're going on a shorter hunt, this works very well. It's also nice because it keeps the bridge and the tether out of the way so that you can swing around and shoot your weak side a lot easier. So if I'm swinging out this way to shoot, or swing out to your strong side, there's not a lot of rope in between you and the tree to avoid while you're doing that. Okay, so that's also going to lead into tip number 2, which is all about bridge length. You can lengthen it or shorten it. I find the longer you can lengthen it and still keep a safe distance from the tree, the better, because it pinches your hip bones less. So if you're having problems with that, maybe move your tether up and then shorten your actual tether and lengthen your bridge, and that might help widen the saddle so that it's not as tight. All right guys, so tip number 3 is going to be about saddle position, and what this means is just the position of the saddle on your body. You'll find if you're getting pinching below your backside, you'll actually want to pull the saddle down, and that should relieve some of the pressure, or vice versa. If you're feeling pressure on the top part of the saddle, you can pull it up to give your lower back more support. So that's all for tip number 3, pretty simple. Tip number 4 is about platform position, and this is a 2-part tip. The first is where you position the saddle on the tree. You're always going to want to put the saddle on the lower side, or the way the tree is leaning, so that way if you go to swing around the tree for a shot, you can always get back to the lower position. Whereas if you put it on the high side of the tree and you go to swing around to the low side, it's going to be a lot harder to get yourself back on the platform, and you don't want that to happen. The second part is actually about the angle that you put your platform. I've got mine at a slightly downward angle, as you can see. Some people like to have theirs at very extreme angles. It's all about what's comfortable for you. But basically what this downward angle does, it allows you to use more of the platform while maintaining the natural angle in your ankles, so it'll lead to a lot less calf soreness and a lot less ankle soreness. I keep mine at a slight angle. That way when I swing into the tree into seated position, I can still keep the majority of my foot on the platform, whereas if it's at a really downward angle, then you're starting to get your toes really far up again. That's going to do it for tip number 4. Tip number 5 is all about saddle accessories, and that's the nice thing about saddle hunting is you can really make it your own. If you want knee pads or a knee cushion, you can add that. They make back straps for back support and things like that, and there's also a lot of do-it-yourself versions of the same thing. So if you can't afford it, or you don't want to buy the actual name brand product, you can make it yourself and find YouTube tutorials on that. And that's really the nice thing about saddle hunting, is the customization and making sure it's right for you. That's going to do it for my 5 saddle hunting tips. If you liked the video, be sure to leave a comment, like, subscribe, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.